Hello, welcome to part 4 of the 8-part series Back to Basics. We explore yoga poses, common familiar yoga poses, looking at different variations, modifications, and a little bit of the philosophy. Last week we looked at Warrior 1 pose. This week, Warrior 2. It is one of the most recognizable yoga poses. Beyond seated meditation with your hands on your thighs and legs crossed, or in lotus pose, of course. Warrior 2, standing up tall, arms outstretched. We're going to explore that a little bit today and look a little more closely at the warrior stance. It's used in quite a few poses that we will also explore. So, for today's class, yoga block if you have one. If you don't, that's fine too. I tend to practice without a block, so it's up to you. Rolled up blanket under your hips if you like, or sitting on your yoga block. Sitting tall with your hips higher than your knees. Legs don't need to be crossed, but sit comfortably for your next few breaths. Always beginning every yoga class, every yoga practice with some seated centering. Let's begin. Sitting tall. Take a couple of breaths here, just check in with your body, a little bit of movement, and when you're ready to settle in, become still and focus on your breath. Let your hands just rest naturally on your thighs. Wherever they naturally fall is perfectly fine. We tend to focus on the exhalation for every breath, just because it feels so good to let go. But without an inhalation, there can be no exhalation. So take the next couple of breaths here just to focus on deepening the inhalation. And then just releasing. Let the exhale be whatever it wants to be. Your next breath, with a big breath in, sweep the arms up. Really open up through the ribcage. Fill all the space with your breath. And as you exhale, hands come together and float down. Do that again 2 more times. Focus on the breath and how good it feels to be focused on the breath. At the end of the 3rd breath, pause with your hands together right in front of heart center. Taking one more moment just to check in, to feel, to connect. Mind, body, and breath all together on the yoga mat. If your mind is still wandering, go ahead and take another breath. Linger in your seated centering a little bit more. When you're ready, go ahead, open your eyes if they happen to be closed. I close mine so automatically now that I forget that they're closed. Let's come into table pose. Wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Spread your fingers, get a good connection between the palms of your hands and your fingertips and the mat. Neutral spine here, soften through the back of the heart. Feel your shoulder blades sliding in towards your spine. Uncurl your toes, let the tops of your feet rest on the mat. Take a breath in, lift your eyes, look forward. Create some sway in the lower back, really arch the back. And as you exhale, tuck your chin towards your chest, round through the spine, draw the belly button in. Feel the stretch in the back of the shoulders and the upper back. Inhale, lifting the eyes, look forward. Deep curve in the spine, tailbone scoops up. Exhale, rounding through the back. Chin to chest, tailbone scoops under. Inhale, coming into cow pose. And exhale, rounding through the back, coming into cat pose. Think of a Scared cat on the top of the fence. Those cartoon black cats. Let's do it one more time. Cow pose with the breath in. And cat pose with the breath out. Come back to neutral table position, looking straight down at the mat. Soften the shoulder blades behind the heart. Take a breath. And as you exhale, just sit back towards your heels. And then inhale, float back up to table. Careful not to round through the back here, working on warming up through the wrists, shoulders, knees, and hips. Sitting back to a variation of child's pose here. Stay in tune to your body and how it's feeling, how it's responding to the transition between table and child. Really feel your poses and the transition from the inside out. Last one. Come back to table. Now, lifting up your left hand, you're going to swing your left foot forward. Lift your right knee, step your right foot forward, coming into a forward fold. Keep the backs of the knees soft here. Fold over your thighs, really round through the back. And inhale, use the full length of your arms, come up high on your fingertips, look forward, so you're lengthening through the spine. Exhale, fold over the thighs. Inhale, lifting up. Lengthening through the spine. Exhale, folding over the thighs. Now inhale, come halfway up. Hands underneath the knees. Exhale, hands to your hips. Inhale, press all the way up. And as you exhale, release your hands, coming into mountain pose. Be the mountain. Legs strong. Check in with the feet. Feel the good connection between the four corners of each foot and the yoga mat. Equal weight on the front, back, and sides of your feet. Belly button draws in, creating a little bit of strength through the belly, a little bit of stability through the core. Draw the shoulder blades up, roll them back. Just let your palms turn forward. Let your hands rest where it feels natural to rest. Ears in line with the shoulders. Crown of the head reaches up so you feel a slight tuck of the chin. You want to feel like your jawbone is parallel to the floor. Now inhale, sweep the arms up. And as you exhale, release the arms. Step your right foot back, regular steps, soften the left knee. Sweep up. Yeah, warrior one. Just like from last week. And as you exhale, let's sweep the arms down and step the right foot forward. Returning to mountain pose. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, arms sweep down, left foot steps back, right knee softens. Inhale, sweep the arms up to warrior one. The very first modification we did of warrior one. Exhale, variation I should say, not modification. Left foot steps forward. Let's repeat that one time on each side. Inhaling, sweeping up. Exhaling, right foot steps back, left knee softens. Sweeping up. Bring your gaze up this time. Just open up a little bit more. And then exhale, release. Right foot steps forward. Sweeping up with your breath. Stepping back with the breath out. The left foot, right knee softens. Sweeping up. Bringing the gaze up ever so slightly just to open up and warm up the spine a little bit more. Release the arms. Left foot steps forward. Find your mountain pose. Remember, always open through the heart. The strong back of a warrior, the soft front of a human being. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, bend your knees on the way down. Bring your fingertips to the mat. You step the right foot back, a little farther back this time. You decide if you want to push your heel down or keep your heel floating, pressing down with the ball of the big toe. Bring your hands one at a time to the top of your left thigh. Left knee is bent. Use your hands on your thigh for support. Now lift up. Pull back. Wah. Shoulders over top of hips. Find your focal point. That will help you keep your balance. I should have said that first. Now push with the right heel. Really lengthen through the front of the right hip. And then soften into the left knee. Release your hands. Turn your palms forward. Reach out side to side. Just a little bit of strength through the sides of the body here. Build some strength in the front of the body and through the shoulders. So we're well prepared for Warrior Two. Sweeping the arms up with your next breath. Bringing your hands together overhead. Index fingers pointing up, thumbs pointing back. A little bend in the elbows here. Keep your eyes on your focal point to steady you. And just take note of which baby finger is on the outside. You notice how it just feels completely normal to have your hands this way. That will change when we go the other way. Take a breath. And as you exhale, release your hands. We're going to sweep down, all the way down. Look at the top edge of your mat. Focus your gaze there. And then step your right foot forward. Knees bent. As you inhale, just use the full length of your arms, fingertips grazing the mat. And as you exhale, fold over your thighs. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Extending your forward fold. Exhale, fold over your thighs. Knees bent. Now step back with the left foot. You decide how far. A little farther than a regular walking step. Make sure the ball of the big toe of the left foot is connected to the mat. Really strong there. You've got a scissoring action happening with your legs as the left foot pulls forward and the right foot pulls back. One at a time, your hands come onto your right thigh. Right knee is soft. Bring your gaze to your focal point ahead. Then press up. Bringing shoulders into line with the hips. Push down with the ball of the left big toe. Lengthen the back of the left knee to really stretch through the front of the left hip. And soften into the right knee. And when you're ready, sweep your arms straight out side to side. And just remind yourself which pinky was on the outside when we had the right foot back and the left foot forward. Try not to anticipate what's to come, but focus on your breath in the moment. Now sweeping the arms up with your breath in. Bring the other pinky to the outside. It's going to feel very peculiar. In fact, it feels like I'm not even holding my own hand. Index fingers pointing up, thumbs pointing back. Little softness in the elbows here, so not fully extended, and keeping the eyes straight ahead as opposed to looking up at the ceiling or up at your hands. Keep your gaze steady and your breath steady. Take a breath. And as you exhale, let's release the hands, sweep down. Look at the top edge of the mat, focus your gaze there. Step your left foot forward. Now inhale, come halfway up, hands on your knees. Pause for the exhalation. Another breath in. Exhale, hands to your hips. Inhale, lift up. Release your hands. Find your mountain pose. Palms turn forward. Feel sturdy, steady. No one can move you because you are a steady, stable mountain. Let's repeat that little warrior flow, warrior one flow we did just a few moments ago. So as you inhale, arms sweep up. Bring your gaze up with you this time. As you exhale, hands sweep down. Right foot steps back, left knee softens. Now inhale, go bigger. Just by bringing your gaze higher up, lean into your back leg and step right foot forward. Inhaling, bringing the gaze up. Exhaling, sweeping down, the gaze goes down. Left foot steps back, right knee softens. Sweeping up. You choose how high to lift your gaze, how deep the back bend will be. One more time on each side. If you're fully grounded through your feet in mountain pose, it's surprising how much of a back bend you can get in the upper spine. Because your feet and hips are so solid, so perfectly balanced. Ooh, that one was the biggest one yet. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, spread the arms wide and dive down, bending your knees on the way down. Coming into a forward fold. Uttanasana, intense stretch, living up to the name here. So go ahead, if you have a yoga block, you can reach for your yoga block and choose the height that's right for you. Please make sure that there is support underneath your fingertips. If your fingertips don't reach the mat, bend your knees so that they do, or bring your hands to your shins. Now lengthen through the upper body by reaching the crown of the head forward. Pull the fronts of the shoulders back, let your shoulder blades slide in towards your spine. So right now, we have some softness in the back of the knees. Keep the softness in the back of the knees and focus on hinging at the hip, kind of folding over your thighs. You can feel your rib cage beginning to connect with your thighs. Keep the crown of the head reaching forward so the upper body stays long. Now, wherever you're at, remember, you choose the level of intensity. The closer your hands get to the floor, the higher the intensity will be. The intensity will increase as you deepen your forward fold. Now, if you feel like you're too far from your forward fold, but you're not getting enough of a stretch in your the backs of your legs, think of lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. Put a little bit of curve in the lower back, and you'll feel a stretch in the upper thighs. Breathe through the stretch, breathe through the intensity. Now soften with your exhalation. Bend your knees enough you can get your fingertips to the floor. If you're using your block, place it off to the side. Step your left foot back. So this is a long step now, the longest step we've taken yet. Land on the ball of your left big toe. Pivot on your left big toe, plant your heel. So we've got a 90-degree angle happening with your feet. Your right heel is kind of in line with your left heel or your left arch. Right toes pointing to the top end of your mat, left toes pointing to the left side of your mat. 90-degree angle with your feet. Bring your right elbow to your right knee, left hand to your left hip. Put a little energy in your right hand so there's strength in your whole right arm, right shoulder to keep your right knee aligned over top of your right ankle. You don't want your right knee popping in or popping out. Your left hand is on your hip. Look down at your right foot. Now use your left thumb on the back of your hip to help you pull your left shoulder back. I want you to feel like you're stacking your left shoulder over top of your right shoulder. And your right shoulder is over top of your knee, which is over top of your ankle. So you're creating this straight line between your ankle, knee, right shoulder, left shoulder. Now keep that. Keep the strength. Use your elbow to keep your right knee in place. And turn to bring your gaze upwards. So here we are in the side angle stretch in warrior stance, warrior two stance. It's this 90-degree angle that is considered to be warrior two stance. Now we're going to transition into a few different poses here. Now keep the right shoulder away from your right ear. You want space. Yoga is all about creating space in your body. So try not to compress too much. I love doing this side angle stretch with my elbow on my knee, only because it creates so much space. A lot of people go straight for bringing their hand to the floor, but to me that creates some compression. I have little short legs, so there's not a lot of room here between my rib cage and my thigh. But here, oh, I can breathe. I'm working, but it feels good. It's that perfect balance between breath and strength and softness. Now inhale, sweep your left arm straight up. Get a sense that your left arm, left wrist is in line with your left shoulder, in line with your right shoulder, in line with your right knee, in line with your ankle. This long straight line from your left fingertips down to your right foot. Now you can deepen the pose here by using your elbow on your knee and pulling back with the left shoulder. Oh, feel all that space in the left hip. Wowzers. Take a breath. And as you exhale, sweep your left arm all the way down to the mat. Bring your gaze with you. Right hand comes down to the mat. Pivot onto your left big toe, step forward. Take a bow, you deserve it. Softness in the back of the knees, a little bit of a stretch there in the back of the legs, a little bit of a stretch in the lower back. And of course, wonderful deep breaths. Delicious breaths. Let's inhale, come halfway up, hands underneath your knees, pause here. Another breath in. Exhale, slide your hands down, fingertips to the mat, right foot steps back. Step back, land on the ball of your right big toe. So pivot on the right big toe, plant your heel. Right toes pointing to the right, left toes pointing forward, making a 90-degree angle with your mat. Right heel, right instep is in line with your left heel. Left elbow comes to your left knee is soft, right hand to your hip. Keep your eyes looking down at your left big toe. Right hand is on your hip. Now focus on your left arm. Engage with the left arm, spread your fingers, find some strength there and some stability. Stretching the fingers does the same thing spreading your toes does for your feet. It stabilizes the joints in your arm, your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder. Left knee is over top of your left ankle, left shoulder over top of your left knee. Right hand, you can feel your thumb on the back of your hip. Use that to help you pull open with the right shoulder. And then let your gaze just slowly make its way upwards. You want to feel like your right shoulder is in line with your left shoulder, in line with your left knee, left ankle. Breathe. If you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and reach your right arm up. Get a sense that your right wrist is in line with your right shoulder, left shoulder, all the way down to your left ankle. Take a couple of breaths here. Feel your body. Notice how you're feeling in the pose in this side angle stretch. And then with the next breath or two, decide if you want to go bigger and open more. Use your elbow on your knee as your leverage spot and help open up through the shoulder. Think of pulling the right shoulder back rather than the right wrist back. Pulling the right wrist back can actually overextend the shoulder a little bit. But if you open from the shoulder, the right wrist, right hand will just go with you. Such strength. Take a breath. Exhale, sweep all the way down to the mat. Take your time. There's no rush. Left hand comes down. Pivot onto your right big toe. Step your right foot forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees. Hands on your hips. Inhale, press all the way up. Standing tall. Keep your hands on your hips. Bend your knees. Step your left foot back. You're going to stand left foot back, straight back. Land on the ball of your left big toe. Now look down at your right knee. Right knee is pointing in the same direction as your right toe. So we're going here from a warrior one stance to warrior two stance. Keep your eyes on your right knee. We want to keep the knee in line with your right ankle. So now pivot on your left big toe and plant your heel. Coming into warrior stance. Right knee pointing in the same direction as your right toes. You should still be able to see your right big toe. Here we are, warrior two stance. Now keep the right knee in line with your right ankle. I cannot say that enough. And turn to the left. Get a sense that your shoulders are in line with your hips. Stacked over top of your hips. That's a better way to say it. Now release your arms. Just sweep the arms straight out. Just let them float up side to side. Wrists in line with the shoulders. And then anchor your left shoulder over top of your left hip. As you exhale, just turn to look along your right ring finger. This is warrior two pose. Now you can take a bigger step, that's up to you, and widen your stance. That's one way to modify this pose. The other way is to soften through the elbows if your shoulders are tired. Now think of drawing up the energy from the earth through the soles of the feet, your legs, into the core of your pelvis. Feel that strength in your gut. Yeah. The strength of a warrior. Now draw that strength into the heart. And as you exhale, expand from the heart out. Out through the arms, back down to the earth. Finding the strength of the warrior, but at the same time the softness, soft enough to reach out. Reach out and stand up for others. So this stance comes from Shiva. Well, Shiva's Virabhadra, warrior, unsheathing his sword and facing Daksha, Sati's father. Now release your hands. Hands to your hips. Bring your gaze forward. Find your focal point that you were looking at earlier to help keep your balance. Keep your gaze there and just slowly lift your left heel off the mat. Pivot on your left big toe. And now lean back and use your left foot to push as you step forward. Finding the strength within to step forward and defend those who are unable to defend themselves. The true heart of a warrior. Let's bend the knees just ever so slightly, finding the softness, and step the right foot back. Long step back with the right foot, coming into a warrior one stance, a wide warrior one stance. Look down at your left knee. Left knee is pointing in the same direction as your left toes. Now keep your eyes there, keep the left knee aligned. As you pivot on the right big foot, right big toe, plant your heel. 90-degree angle with the feet. You can still see your left big toe, knee pointing in the same direction as your right foot. Hands on your hips so you can feel where your hips are. And now rotate through the shoulders as you turn to look to the right. Keep the left knee pointing in the same direction as your left toes. That can be tricky. For me, my left knee is much trickier than my right. Now release your hands. Let your arms float up. Anchor your right shoulder over top of your right hip. Use your breath out to just slowly turn. Look along your left ring finger. Why the ring finger? Well, because Shiva and Sati were destined to be together. Sati is the human form of the goddess Shakti. Shiva and Shakti ring together. Breathe. Draw the strength up through the legs, steady through the lower body, strong from the core of the pelvis down. Now draw that strength into the heart, and as you exhale, reach out from your heart. Feel your breath and your energy soften you. Soften the warrior within. One more breath. Release your hands. Bring your hands back to your hips once again. Keep your eyes on your focal point. Help steady yourself as you lift your right heel, pivot onto your right big toe. Feel your whole body moving as a single unit. Now lean back, bend the right knee, and then push. Push to step forward. And release. Find your mountain pose. Open up through the heart. Palms of the hands forward. Breathe. Just feel the heat that rose up within you in that stance, right? That energy to fight, that heat that comes just in warrior pose. And then here in mountain pose, everything becomes calm once again. Yoga is such a good teacher. After moments of high intense energy, we have to find the same moment in a quieter spot to balance, to overcome. Inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, bow forward. Bend your knees on the way down, bow forward. Coming into a forward fold, an intense forward stretch. You decide how deep you want the stretch to be. You know what to do now. You lengthen through the upper body. You lift the hips. You keep a softness behind the knees. You're in control of the level of intensity. Inhale, come halfway up, hands just underneath your knees. Exhale, bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips. As you inhale, come the rest of the way up. Keep your hands on your hips. We're going to step left foot back, regular walking step as if you were going to do a warrior one, but then pivot. So keeping both legs long this time. Pivot, plant your heel. Now notice if you're making a 90-degree angle with your feet. You want your feet, your left foot, to be behind your right foot. A little bit of softness in the right knee. Nothing too big here. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up. Yep, you can see that little bit of warrior pose right here. Now as you exhale, hinge forward. Bow towards your right leg, getting ready to come into a triangle pose. Yep, triangle pose starts with warrior pose. Bring your hand to your knee, just below your knee, wherever you're at. It's up to you. Careful to keep a little bit of softness in the right knee so you don't overextend your knee joint. Now pull back with the left shoulder, just like you did in your side angle. And turn to bring your gaze upwards. Now you can take a bigger stance here. I'm just going to come out of this pose. You hold on to it and breathe through it, of course. You can take a bigger triangle pose by taking a bigger step back. That is up to you. That is how you modify your triangle pose. And after a couple of breaths, notice if you're ready to go deeper. How do you go deeper? Well, you move your left foot back, or you slide your right hand a little closer towards your ankle. Careful to keep the left shoulder over top of the right shoulder. As soon as the left shoulder starts to fold down, you're not in this lateral stretch into the outer left hip anymore in triangle pose. You're coming into a pyramid pose if the shoulders begin to rotate. Now keep your gaze upwards. Soften your right knee. Bring your right elbow onto your right knee. Yes, coming into side angle. Simple transition. Take a breath. As you exhale, reach your left hand to the front. So your left arm is up beside your left ear. Long stretch through the whole left side of the body, from your left fingertips down to the outer edge of your left foot. Now keep the right knee soft. Getting ready, use the momentum of your breath. Swing up. Coming into warrior two. With your exhalation, turn to look along your right arm. Breathe. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, we're going to reach forward and slowly windmill down. Bring your right hand to the inside of your right foot. Left hand comes down. Pivot onto your left big toe. Now plant your hands. We're going to take a downward dog here, the only downward dog of our practice today. So step back. Make your way to downward dog however you need to get there. Just feel the difference in the energy on the left side and the right side. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Take your time, take a few steps if you need to. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips. As you inhale, press the rest of the way up. All right, coming into triangle pose a slightly different way this time. Release the hands. Inhale, scoop the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Bring your fingertips to the mat, step your right foot back. Turn your right foot, drop your heel. Bend your left elbow to your left knee, right hand to your hip. Pause, take a moment, stack your right shoulder over top of your left shoulder. Whew. Now inhale, right arm sweeps up. Bring your gaze up. Now inhale, right hand reaches forward. Right arm comes up beside your right ear. Now swinging with the breath. Use the momentum of your breath. As you inhale, pull up. As you exhale, turn to gaze along your left arm. Shoulders over top of hips. Breathe. Yes, reverse order this time. Keep your eyes on your left hand, left arm. Lengthen through the left leg. Little softness in the back of the left knee. Take a breath. Anchor your right shoulder over top of your right hip and hinge forward. Seesaw forward. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling, left hand letting it land where it wants to land. Keeping the softness in the back of the left knee to keep the knee safe. Turn, bring your gaze upwards once again. Take a couple of breaths here. And then decide if you want to go any deeper into your triangle pose. Sliding your hand a little closer towards your ankle, reaching for your block if you have one, or widening your stance. Soften your left knee. And then inhale, use your right arm to pull up. Oh! As you exhale, bring your gaze once again along your left arm. Notice your arms. Bring your hands to your hips. Look at your focal point ahead and pivot. Pivot on your right big toe. I let my eyes wander there for a moment and push the right foot to step forward. Release your hands. Rest in mountain. Be like Shiva, undisturbed 24/7. Unmoved 24/7. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale. Bend your knees as you bow forward. Fingertips to the mat. Come up high on the fingertips. Use the full length of the arms as you inhale. Exhale, bow. Now, if there's any intensity at all here in your forward fold, release it. Use this as a little bit of recovery here, resting recovery in your forward fold. Feel your breath beginning to slow down. Feel yourself drawing inward a little bit here. Inhale, just lift your eyes, look down at your hands. As you exhale, bend your knees a little more deeply, plant your hands, and come to table pose. So come down to table pose. Wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips, toes curled under for a little bit of stability here. Lengthen from the crown of the head to the tailbone. So crown of the head reaching forward, and rather than the tailbone pointing up towards the ceiling, think of the tailbone reaching for the wall behind you. And then soften the back of the heart by letting your shoulder blades slide in towards your spine. Press down, left hand, right knee. So you can feel the less pressure on your right arm, right hand. Now inhale, sweep the right arm up. And as you exhale, right hand comes under the left side of your body, threading the needle here. Right shoulder comes down to the mat. Right ear comes down to the mat. Adjust the placement of your left hand so you feel steady. And now actively reach your right hand away from you and use your left hand on the mat to help you pull back with the left shoulder. Now breathe into the back of the rib cage here. Bring breath where breath is restricted in the body. Because the energy goes the same place your breath flows. In fact, there's a saying in yoga that where the breath goes, prana flows. And prana, of course, being the life force, energy. Prana goes where the breath flows. Yeah, that's right. With your next breath out, just soften. No longer working at the pose, just sinking into your right shoulder, sinking into your right ear. Now press up. Find your table pose once again. Uncurl your toes and press back into a child's pose. Keep your hands in place, but take the pressure off the hands. Come down to your forearms and elbows and relax your neck and let your head feel heavy. Just a couple of breaths here. A little bit of a break before we twist through the other side. Press up. Shoulders over top of wrists. Knees underneath the hips. Toes curl under. Long spine. Soft heart. Press down with the right hand and left knee. Inhale. Left hand is free now. Sweep up with the left arm as you take a big breath in. Exhale. Left arm comes under the right side of the body, threading the needle on the left side. Left shoulder, left ear, come down to the mat. Adjust the position of your right hand. Feel steady. Actively reach left hand away. Use your right hand on the mat to help you pull back with the right shoulder. Breathe into the back of the rib cage. Feel that stretch getting into all the nooks and crannies back there. One more breath. As you exhale, soften. Let go of the work in the pose and just hold the pose. Just keep the physics of the pose going so you don't fall out. And press up. And walk your knees wide, bring your big toes together, and take a deeper child's pose. Modifying your child's pose here so you can really sink your hips to your heels as much as possible. And you can use your hands, stacking fist on top of fist. Place your forehead on your fists, or you can reach for your yoga block. You can adjust the height by adjusting the position of your hands or the position of your yoga block. Make sure there is support underneath your forehead, only because that helps to relax the jaw. And when the forehead comes all the way down to the mat, it can be uncomfortable. Now press up. Swing your legs round to the top of the mat. Knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and you can use your hands on the back of your thighs and just roll down, like one vertebrae at a time, or you can let go and do a Pilates roll down. One vertebrae at a time. Oh, yeah. Bend your knees. Get a sense that your ankles are underneath your knees. Arms out to your sides, wrists in line with your shoulders. Now just let your hips feel really heavy here. I want you to feel the weight on the back of the hips, right at the sacrum. Relax the arms. Just let your fingers, hands, arms, just let them go limp. Let the sensation of softness overtake your throat and your jaw. So everything from the waist up is just really relaxed and heavy. You're focused on all those spots in the upper body that are connected to the floor, to the earth below. Feel the heavy spot at the back of the sacrum. Now just gently start to wave your knees just a tiny little bit from side to side. Just enough to feel the pressure on the hip. First the right hip, then the sacrum, then the left hip, and then back the other way. Left hip, sacrum, right hip, and back to sacrum. Just go really slowly and deliberately. Feel the massage to the lower back. Feel the very subtle rotation through the lower back. Barely lifting one hip off the mat as you ground down through the other. Now bring your knees back to center. Bring your right knee in towards your chest and just hold the back of your right thigh. Spread your toes on your right foot, just so your ankle's not all floppy. Really hug your right knee in as close as possible. That means you bring your right thigh out to the outside of your rib cage. Go ahead and do that. That's what I do too. My right knee is kind of in line with my armpit. Just your toes spread enough on your right foot so that your right ankle isn't floppy. Now spread your toes on your left foot. Pull the sole of your left foot off the mat and just slide your heel down to the top of the mat as long as you can. Keep hugging the right leg in and reaching the left foot to the wall in front of you. Really try to push your heel all the way. Breathe. Just feel this huge range of motion in your right hip here. Keep the left leg anchored to the mat, left heel anchored to the mat. Toes spread on your right foot, and just release your right leg. Reach your right heel straight up for the ceiling now. Arms to your sides, back out in line with your shoulders. Just reach, long legs. And then slowly bringing your right leg, slowly, with control, all the way down to your left. And the moment your right heel hits the mat, just let go, soften everywhere. Oh, so good. Bend your knees once again. Ankles underneath your knees. And just gently rolling from side to side, gentle massage across the back of the hips, especially the sacrum. This time, when your knees go to the left, turn your head to the right. And then slowly roll. Feel the weight perfectly centered at the back of your skull the very moment the weight of your hips is centered on your sacrum. And as your knees go to the right, turn your head to the left. Really feel the upper body and the lower body coming in tune, synchronizing with each other, just like Shiva and Shakti. Let's do it one more time in each direction, wherever you are. Really focus on synchronizing the upper body and the lower body. Coming back to center. Reach for your left knee. Hug your left knee in. Grab the back of your left leg, left thigh. Bring your knee as wide as your armpit, if that helps. So your inner left thigh is kind of snuggled up against the outside edge of your left rib cage. Spread your toes on your left foot. Keep your ankle from flopping. Spread your toes on your right foot. Peel the sole of your right foot off the mat and then just slowly begin to slide your right heel towards the top of your mat. Think of reaching the front wall, touching the front wall with the sole of your right foot. All the while keeping your left knee hugging in. Really pushing your range of motion in your left hip. Breathe. Keep the energy in the left foot, left leg. Release your left leg and just reach the sole of your left foot up for the ceiling. Long left leg as long as it can be. Keep the right leg grounded. Upper body soft. And then slowly just bringing the left leg down to the mat. Keep the left leg long, strong. And then when you reconnect the left heel to the earth, everything softens. Oh. Breathe. Here you are in a modified Shavasana, final relaxation pose. Make whatever adjustments you need to so you're comfortable for your next few breaths, next few moments. So right here on the yoga mat is where you practice your warrior, you practice your strength, and then reach in deeply for softness. Find the balance between the two. And as you move through your yoga poses, you take a moment to breathe and check in with your body, just like you do in times of stress when you're off the mat. We practice here on the yoga mat what we hope to practice off the mat. Today was about a stressful moment, drawing your sword, pointing it towards your foe, and then finding the softness in your heart. So instead of striking, you reach out. As you exhale, really connect to the heaviness and the softness, the physical body, the depth and softness of your breath, and how transformative a single breath can be when you set the intention for how you want to be. Go ahead and stay here for as long as you choose, but for me, I'm afraid it's time for me to come out of final relaxation. Starting with some small movements in the hands and the feet, the arms, and the legs. Gonna have a stretch because that's what feels good. And gently roll onto the right side. Always rolling onto the right side to protect the heart. Press up. And sit tall. Hands together at the heart. Eyes softly closed or gazing downward. a moment to be grateful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be loved. May all beings be at peace. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.